If you suggest something, people resist. But if they come up with the same thing themselves, they defend it. They fight for it. They believe in it. The same idea. Different owner. Different outcome. And that's the hidden key. People don't follow the best ideas. They follow their own ideas. So if you want to get what you want, stop trying to convince people. Stop explaining, persuading, or arguing. Instead, plant a seed. Guide the conversation. And let them think they discovered the solution. Because once an idea becomes theirs, they'll protect it. Support it. Execute it. You don't need to push. You just need to shape the path. This is one of the most elegant, powerful, and underrated techniques in human interaction. Make them believe it was their idea all along. Let's look at why it works. Every person has an ego. And the ego loves to be right. It loves to be smart. It loves to feel in control. If you say, "I have a great idea," their ego feels challenged. But if you say, "I'm not sure what would work, what do you think?" and nudge them in the right direction, now they feel intelligent, involved, respected. You've achieved the same result, but without resistance. Because they're not agreeing with you. They're agreeing with themselves. Let me give you a real-life example. You want your colleague to adopt your system for tracking clients. You could say, "My system is more efficient. Let's use it." That invites pushback. Or you say, "I've been thinking about how to make our process smoother. I'm wondering if there's a better way to keep track of follow-ups. What would you change?" They think. They say, "Well, we could have a shared sheet." You say, "Interesting. What would it look like?" They describe something that sounds very much like your system. You nod, build on it, support it. At the end of the conversation, they say, "Let's go with that." You say, "Brilliant." They feel like a contributor, not a follower. You win. But so do they? This is how you lead without authority. How you influence without force. How you move things forward without ever looking like you're in control. Let's break it down. Step 1. Ask open questions that lead toward your goal. You're not manipulating. You're directing attention. Instead of saying what you want, you ask. 1. What do you think would work best in this situation? 2. Have you ever seen a method that felt smoother? 3. If we were to start fresh, what would you build? These aren't random. They're guided. You know the answer you want. But instead of saying it, you lead them there gently. Step 2. Validate their input. Build on it. Even if their idea isn't fully aligned with yours, highlight the parts that are. Say things like, 1. That's a great angle. 2. I hadn't thought of it that way. 3. What if we added this? You're co-creating. But in reality, you're steering. Step 3. Let them own it. Don't rush to claim credit. Let them feel it was their insight. Even if it started with your subtle prompt. People fight harder for their own ideas than they ever would for yours. Now you may ask, is this manipulation? No. It's tact. It's understanding how human psychology works. You're not tricking anyone. You're respecting their autonomy, their need to feel capable and included. This works in every domain. In business, instead of pitching your product, ask what problems they face. Then gently guide them to see how your offer fits their solution. In relationships, instead of saying, "I want us to spend more time together," ask, what would make our time together feel more connected? In leadership, instead of giving orders, ask questions that draw out the answers already in your head. You become invisible, but powerful. You become quiet, but effective. Now here's the advanced version. Sometimes, you don't even ask questions. You just tell stories. You describe a similar situation where someone tried a method, and it worked. You mention a friend who faced the same challenge and found an elegant way out. You casually refer to an article you read, a study, an observation. And you let silence do the work. No pressure. Just a suggestion? And then you watch the gears turn in their head. Later, they come back to you and say, I had this idea. And it's the very thing you planted earlier. You smile and say, I love it. Because that's all you ever wanted. Now, let me tell you something deeper. Most people fight ideas that come from outside, and fall in love with ideas that come from inside. Even if the content is identical. Even if it's word for word. Because the ego doesn't care about the truth. It cares about ownership. So don't fight the ego. Feed it. Give people the gift of authorship. Let them write the idea into their own script. Let them feel like the originator. And you'll get what you want, without ever having to ask for it. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. The loudest voice doesn't win. The softest touch does. You've probably seen this in politics. In parenting. In negotiation. The people who make the biggest impact are not those who shout. But those who shape. They shape thought. They shape perception. They shape belief. And belief, once formed internally, is unshakable. This technique is subtle. It takes patience. But it lasts longer. It creates less conflict. And it leaves the other person feeling empowered, not defeated. So next time you want something, stop thinking, how can I convince them? Start thinking, how can I guide them to say it themselves? And then ask. Suggest. Plant. And wait. Because when the moment comes, and they speak your idea as if it were their own, you'll know you've won. Not by force. Not by logic. Not by demand. But by understanding one simple truth, people support what they help create. So help them create your vision. Silently. Skillfully. Strategically. This is how you get what you want.